The Defection and Death of Maxim Kuzminov, a story of conscience and tragedy. In the modern history of defections, few stories are as dramatic and tragic as that of Maxim Kuzminov, a young Russian helicopter pilot whose bold decision to leave his homeland in protest of an unjust war ended in a violent death on foreign soil. His journey from loyal serviceman to disillusioned defector, from celebrated Ukrainian ally to slain exile in Spain captures, the profound moral dilemmas, personal risks, and political stakes of the Russia-Ukraine war. Early life and military career. Born on June 19, 1995, in the Russian far eastern town of Arsinya of Primorsky Krai, Kuzminov was raised in a modest environment far from the centers of political power. Like many young men in provincial Russia, he saw the military as a career path, a way to achieve stability, honor, and a sense of purpose. His talents and determination earned him a place at the Sizeran Higher Military Aviation School, one of Russia's main training centers for military pilots. Graduating as a skilled helicopter aviator, he joined the 319th Separate Helicopter Regiment based in the Russian Far East. He specialized in flying the Mi-8 transport helicopter, a versatile aircraft used for troop movements, logistics, and combat support. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Kuzminov, like thousands of other servicemen, was thrust into a war that would test not only his skills, but also his conscience. Disillusionment with the war. By his own later testimony, Kuzminov quickly grew disillusioned with the war effort. He had joined the military to serve his country, not to become what he described as an accomplice in crimes. The brutality of Russia's assault, the indiscriminate targeting, and the futility of the campaign planted seeds of doubt. When he attempted to resign from active duty, his commanders reportedly threatened to reassign him as an infantry mena, near certain death sentence on the front lines. Faced with a choice between complicity and sacrifice, Kuzminov began to contemplate another, far riskier option: defection. Operation Synesia, the escape. Defection from Russia is no simple matter, especially for a military officer entrusted with sensitive equipment. For 6 months, Kuzminov secretly communicated with Ukrainian military intelligence. They devised a plan so daring it could have been lifted from a Cold War thriller. On August 9, 2023, he executed his escape. Flying a Mi-8 helicopter at low altitude and in radio silence, crossed into Kharkiv Oblast, Ukraine, landing near Poltava. The operation, codenamed Synesia, was an astonishing success. Not only did Ukraine acquire an intact Russian helicopter, but it also gained a trained pilot and a trove of intelligence on Russian operations. 2 Russian crewmates reportedly had not been informed of the plan. Upon landing, they attempted to flee and were killed in a firefight with Ukrainian forces. Kuzminov, however, was welcomed as both a valuable asset and a symbol of moral defiance. Life after defection. Ukraine rewarded him handsomely. He was granted $500,000 in hryvnia, Ukrainian citizenship, and state protection. More importantly, he was celebrated as a hero who had made a courageous moral choice. In public appearances, including interviews with Ukrainian intelligence, he explained his decision. "I did not want to be part of crimes. Ukraine will prevail because it is united."
Ситуацию свою, на что мне предложили такой вариант, что давай, мы гарантируем тебе безопасность, гарантируем тебе новые документы, там гарантируем тебе денежную компенсацию, вознаграждение. То есть обговорили все вот эти детали и начали планировать уже непосредственно мой перелет. Конечно же, если вы совершите то, что я совершил, такого рода поступок, вы нисколько не пожалеете, вы будете обеспечены до конца своей жизни, всем абсолютно. Будут вам предлагать работу везде, где бы вы ни захотели, чем бы вы ни захотели заниматься. Вы просто откроете для себя вот этот мир красок. И запомните, вы просто многого не знаете, многого не видели, как живут другие люди. Когда вам действительно все это откроется, вы свое мнение в корне поменяете.
For Kyiv, his defection was a propaganda victory. Demonstrated that even inside Russia's armed forces, conscience could outweigh loyalty. Exile in Spain. Despite the protection offered in Ukraine, Kuzminov soon chose to leave. He relocated to Villa Joyosa, a small seaside town in Spain's Alicante province, adopting the identity Ihor Shevchenko with forged Ukrainian documents. In Spain, he sought anonymity. He lived modestly, shopped at local supermarkets instead of Russian or Ukrainian specialty stores to avoid recognition, and frequented neighborhood cafes, but he was also lonely. Reports suggest that he contacted an ex-girlfriend, a decision that may have compromised his location. Spain's Costa Blanca, however, was no safe haven. The area is home to sizable Russian and Ukrainian expatriate communities, including individuals with ties to Moscow. Whether through social contact, surveillance, or betrayal, his presence did not remain secret for long. The assassination. On February 13, 2024, Maxim Kuzminov was ambushed in the underground garage of his apartment complex. He was shot multiple times with a Makarov pistol, a weapon often associated with Russian intelligence services. Witnesses saw assailants flee in a car, which was later found burned out nearby, a classic signature of a professional hit. Spanish authorities later confirmed his identity using fingerprints, DNA, and dental records despite the false Ukrainian documents on his body. The attack bore hallmarks of Kremlin-ordered assassinations seen elsewhere in Europe. Reactions and propaganda wars. Ukraine's military intelligence confirmed his death, calling him a real warrior and honest man. Officials emphasized that they had fulfilled all obligations to him, but also implied that his decision to leave Ukraine had been a fatal mistake. In Moscow, the reaction was chilling. Russia's foreign intelligence chief Sergei Narishkin mocked Kuzminov, declaring he had been a moral corpse the moment he defected. Russian state media gloated, framing his assassination as inevitable justice for betrayal. For Kyiv, the propaganda victory of his defection was now shadowed by tragedy. Instead of being a living testament to resistance inside Russia's military, Kuzminov became a martyr and a warning. Legacy and symbolism. The story of Maxim Kuzminov is not merely about a single man's choices. It reflects broader truths about war, conscience, and authoritarian power. The human cost of conscience. Kuzminov's decision highlights how war places individuals in impossible moral positions, forcing them to choose between complicity in atrocities and personal ruin. The global reach of authoritarian regimes. His assassination on Spanish soil underscores that dissenters are not safe, even in distant democracies. The Kremlin's long arm reaches far beyond its borders, silencing those who defect. The fragility of defection. For Ukraine, Kuzminov's death was a reminder that defectors, while valuable, are vulnerable. His departure from Ukraine stripped him of the only protection that could have saved him. A tragic warning. His life and death now serve as a double-edged symbol of courageous defiance, but also the deadly risks of betrayal in the eyes of authoritarian power. Conclusion. Maxim Kuzminov's story reads like a tragic epic. A young man, raised in provincial Russia, trained to serve his country, ultimately rejects the role of executioner in a war he cannot justify. His daring defection inspires hope, only for his premature death to confirm the mercilessness of the very system he sought to escape. In the end, Kuzminov represents both heroism and vulnerability. His conscience propelled him to make a choice few would dare. His murder, however, demonstrates that in the struggle between individual courage and state power, the cost of defiance is often life itself. Yet his memory endures as a symbol of dissent, of the power of moral choice, and of the tragic consequences that await those who dare to resist authoritarianism. Thank you for watching.